General Reno, during the years that you were Attorney General and before and after, right up till 9/11, there was an administration report issued every year called Patterns of Global Terrorism. And in it, the counterterrorism policy was described as, and I quote, to treat terrorists as criminals, to pursue them aggressively, and to apply the rule of law. Now, during your tenure at Justice, in various documents that dealt with terrorism, your priorities were laid out, number one, to obtain the successful prosecution of terrorists, and number two, to protect the rights of personal privacy. Were they accurate reflections of the priorities, or did the priorities shift as time went on?
The priorities shifted almost immediately. I think Director Free made clear that we have got to start talking about how we prevent it and how we deter it and how we intervene with it. And I think that has been the important step. At the same time, it is important to understand what Director Free was saying, that one of the best ways to prevent it is to get hold of the information, follow it, and make the arrest before it happens.
But one of the problems of that perception, because I'm well aware of the long lag between the changing of official propaganda, which continued right unchanged through 3 administrations, and the reality underlying it, is that other parts of the government view it very differently. And I'd like to pursue on a strictly unclassified basis this issue of authorities to act, because we've spent a lot of time with the Pentagon and asking the question why we had 8 years of following the 91 events and then the 93 events after that to go after Al-Qaeda and bin Laden, and there were very, very few attempts. And the recent book by Mr. Cole and the articles in the Washington Post and the book Ghost Wars quotes senior officials in CIA and the Pentagon and indeed in the NSC that as follows. And the reason and I don't want to go outside of public documents, but the reason I'm quoting them is that we got a lot of classified testimony that is not inconsistent with it. Attorney General Reno and her Justice Department were deeply invested in law enforcement as the approach to terrorism. And this translated into the Pentagon and CIA must make a good faith effort to capture Osama for trial before targeting him as an individual. Again, just asking your personal view and not based on any classified information. Is that an accurate reflection of your view?
I think he could be captured or killed.
Captured or killed.
Mm-hmm.
This was translated by both agencies as having to mount a full-scale, good faith, organizing logistics effort to capture him, and if he happened to get killed, fine, but you had to do that first. Is that an accurate reflection of it?
Again, my personal opinion would be that he could be captured or killed.
Roger that. The other approach, apart from capturing or killing Osama, the Pentagon, a number of senior Pentagon officials have written publicly, and I'll read from one of them, but again, it's not inconsistent with the classified testimony we have. And that is, quote, talking to what they perceived as the Justice Department policies that we just talked about. If you declare terrorism a criminal activity, you take from the Defense Department any statutory authority to be the leader in responding. Whenever the White House, and they're talking about Clark here, proposed using special forces against terrorists, it found itself facing, quote, a band of lawyers at justice defending the turf. They would assert that the Pentagon lacked authority to use force. And, quote, lawyers in the DOD would concur. They argued that we have no statutory authority because this is essentially a criminal matter. Do you agree with that?
I have not heard that before, sir.
Do you think that's a wrong interpretation and just making excuses by people who didn't want to go in and put boots on the ground anyway?
I don't know what their motivation would be.
Thank you very much.